Newark Mayor Ras Baraka was just arrested by the Trump DOJ after protesting at the Delaney Hall ICE Detention Center for Immigrant Rights. The Trump administration claims he committed trespass. I have a feeling that this video clip will not be viewed negatively by future generations who value due process if those generations still have a democracy. This is what somebody's personal opinion, but this is him, in handcuffs. And it's like, dude, okay, he's actually running for governor, right, of New Jersey. He's currently the mayor of Newark. And I look at it like this. His father is Leroy Jones, aka Amari Baraka, a worldwide renowned poet. He died.
Yeah, but he sure has a bad name amongst the Black Power movement for being an alleged informant.
Really?
Yes.
Can we talk about that?
It goes along with Ron Karinga's alleged involvement as an informant.
So he was linked up with Ron Karinga.
And also, let's put it this way. It's called Title 8, Section 1324. It deals with illegal aliens providing aid, comfort, giving shelter, assisting them in avoiding apprehension, detention, deportation, etc., etc. And it specifically says official status is not an exemption to this. So this is one of the things I've been looking for since I had clients years ago who were charged with this. I had some pimps that used to have some Mexican prostitutes that they'd bring in, and they'd get hit with this very same thing here. I had a totally innocent grown woman that had been married to somebody for 30 years, and her husband was a crucial witness for the FBI, and a dip who had just gotten hired made a mistake and listed him as a suspect rather than as the chief witness, and a warrant was issued, so the jury couldn't hear that he was wanted as not the suspect, but as the chief witness to make the case. We couldn't introduce that, so we went through a long, detailed, nasty trial because somebody had given aid and comfort harboring a federal fugitive. And by definition, if you are an illegal alien who has snuck across the border, you are a federal fugitive. So all of that applies, and specifically Chapter 8, 1324 section deals with what happens when the fugitive is an illegal alien who has invaded the United States by crashing the border. So all of these sanctuary cities are technically under American law, clearly under American law, felonies. And everybody that is involved in them is guilty of a conspiracy.
So before we get back to his father, see, this is the problem that I have, because you're absolutely right when it comes to the law. What is he trying to prove? Now, he's running for governor. Now, I don't, and most likely he's getting money probably coming in from DNC, APAC, or what have you. And this is all part of the Democrats' agenda, is to be the voice for the illegals and immigration. But your city, Newark, New Jersey, is predominantly Black and has been for some decades now. So he never did anything to this extreme to quote unquote get arrested, for the justice of Black Americans. But you're doing it for illegals, people who came here illegally.
Silly Negroes. And part of that thing with the illegals was this. He didn't get the memo. Hey, the deal's off. You know what the deal was? See, if Kamala Harris had gotten elected, what was going to happen was that she would be able to issue an executive order retroactively establishing the date of entry for January in 2020. See, when Biden first came in, they would have been granted asylum retroactively. The interesting thing is when you are a political refugee who is granted asylum, You don't have to take all of the tests, go to the classes and everything that ordinary immigrants have to go through to get American citizenship. You are automatically made a citizen 5 years after your point of declaration as having asylum. All right. Now, that meant that 5 years from 2020 is when?
Oh, now.
2025. Now, you would be an automatic citizen right now. And for the midterms coming up, when?
Next year. No, yeah,
You
2026.
would be able to vote in the midterms. And out of respect and gratitude, you'd vote Democratic. So you see all of these states where they're losing, the battleground states, they'd be able to win them. Guess where they're winding up now?
So here's the thing. Let's go back to Dad, Leroy Jones, aka Amari Baraka.
Amamu Baraka. Yeah.
Well,
Treason.
AMIRI,
Allegedly a traitor.
alleged traitor. He's dead and gone now. Um, why do you say that? Because he was all about Black power. He did help elect the first Black mayor of Newark, Mayor Gibson.
Well, it's always good to have political officials that are on your side. I mean, that's got nothing to do with the issue. I mean, I was very concerned at the time because a whole lot of my friends were getting shot dead. Literally, quite a few, at least 14 or 15, I am personally acquainted with, got shot dead by this mess, where certain Black officials and organizations, and not officials, but let's just say so-called Black leaders, were getting involved with gunning folk down, like what happened to John Huggins and Bunchy Carter at UCLA when they got gunned down by 4 members of the US organization that everybody knew, gave the police their mama's addresses. They only arrested 2 of them. Those 2 were convicted of second-degree murder. They were sentenced to penal farms, and they escaped within 4 days of being sent there. California took down the all points bulletins on them 2 days after they escaped. And 2 of them showed up at the Palladium. I eyeballed them and spoke to them. What the hell are you doing out here? I thought you were in the penitentiary. Oh, we went to work camp. And isn't anybody looking for you? And then they tried to surrender themselves 3 decades later. California said, we aren't interested. Now, here 2 escaped second-degree murderers, convicted murderers, and that California is not interested that they've escaped after being in custody for 5 days in a penitentiary. Tell me what that is. Now,
Right.
something's wrong.
So
I was in the damn building when the killing went on.
So basically, you're saying that apple don't fall too far from the tree.
Yeah.
Like father, like son.
I was very concerned. It was a matter of life and death. People I knew, associated with, talked to, had coffee with, went to meetings with, discussed tactics and strategy about getting the Black thing together. They were getting killed. So yeah, we paid attention to who was getting the accusations leveled at them. Now, granted, I'll be fair about this. One of the things that the FBI and the Special Investigative Services Unit, SIS unit of Los Angeles Police Department were doing, and others around the country, is they were setting up a thing where they were trying to discredit certain people. One of the main victims of that is Jesse Jackson. They've got all kinds of hideous stuff out on Jesse Jackson that's not true. Like, for example, he's the one that betrayed King. He is not. He is one of the good guys in that. He had absolutely nothing to do with King's portrayal. How do I know? I was the last judge on the James Earl Ray case. And from the evidence we adduced that the state of Tennessee, well, excuse me, let's put it this way. The prosecutor's office in Memphis, Tennessee, Shelby County, Tennessee, had no interest in developing. Jesse Jackson was innocent of the accusations of him being the betrayal. There's another certain reverend who escaped interest, but he had a little problem with pedophilia. And he's the one that all indicia show is the traitor, but nobody said anything about him, and he passed away peacefully. And if you want to see what that's about,
Mhm.
let's see, who was it? A friend of mine interviewed him. Who was that? Right before he died, and he said, "Why did you duck back into the Lorraine Motel after you escorted King onto the balcony?" And he said, "I didn't want to get shot." So Dick Gregory was who it was interviewing him. He said, "Well, what made you think somebody's going to get shot?" It was a Freudian slip. So listen to that interview that Dick Gregory did, and you'll see who the suspect seems to have been that betrayed King. But they put it out that it was Jesse Jackson. It's not.
Yeah,
So
there's a lot of backstabbers and traitors during that time.
yeah, and Memphis again is full of corruption. I know who is not responsible. The Memphis Police Department's Homicide Bureau, since day one, has been adamant that James Earl Ray did not shoot King. He was not even in Memphis, and that's a fact. It was not James Earl Ray's rifle that killed King. That's a fact. I had the damn thing retested. It was excluded. And I've got the invoices for the murder weapons. Well, the murder weapon. There were 5 of them supplied to the FBI in December 67 and in April 68 after King had been assassinated, when the Justice Department ordered the FBI to return the 5 to the Defense Department. Guess what? The FBI claims they lost one.
all right, so I don't know if you heard about this, but so it says a Virginia teenager was allegedly shot and killed by a homeowner while filming a TikTok prank videos with friends. The Spotsylvania Sheriff Office said officers received a call about a residential burglary in progress 3 a.m. May the 3rd. Taylor Chase Butler, 27, a resident of Mackenzie Lane, is accused of shooting and killing 18-year-old Malcolm Bosworth Jr. during the incident. The teenager's friends told deputies that they were filming TikTok videos of them doing a ding dong ditch prank when they were shot. Butler was arrested on May 6th and charged with several crimes, including second-degree murder. Bosworth was taken to the local hospital where he died of his injuries.
Somebody else was, well, another person was also shot.
Oh, okay.
And the primary suspect, the homeowner, apparently was charged with second-degree murder. Now, if that was Tennessee, I would be predicting that he would be acquitted, because in Tennessee, so long as the actor has a reasonable belief that the circumstances are as he believes them to be, justifying the use of deadly force, then what happens is, even if he's mistaken, he still has the defense. So he's coming to the defense of a third party, and he is stopping somebody who is supposedly in the act of committing a active felony. And it's dangerous when these people start doing these little TikTok pranks and stuff.
Yeah,
It's highly dangerous. It's like somebody walks in, we're going to stage a fake holdup. Well, you have a store patronized by ordinary citizens, and they're in there, and somebody comes in to stage a fake holdup. They're lucky they don't get gunned down right there by somebody just saying, "Hey, this is a holdup going on. I'm present. I've got a right to defend myself and resist this felony."
right.
So, yeah, you get all kinds of stuff. It's like, where do people come up with these pranks they get?
Well, here's the thing. So he was charged with second-degree murder, maliciously wounding, and 2 counts of use of a firearm in the commission of felony. He was arraigned on May 7th and is set to have a preliminary hearing on June 18th. Now, if Virginia has stand your ground or self-defense laws, can he use that?
It's also, Virginia, like everywhere else, self-defense also embraces defense of third parties. So under the see, here's the thing. under the circumstances, a person might be very reasonable in saying these people are armed, and I'm confronted with an active felony by armed individuals. Remember, when the laws of the United States were conceptualized and brought over from England, there was no police department in existence. Police wouldn't be invented for 40 more years. Scotland Yard in England, Sir Robert Peel, Bobby
So
Peel. So
it
they call
says,
bobbies and peelers. So that's a
it
new
says,
thing. What do you think we did before then?
well, it says Virginia self-defense laws will not explicitly codified, while not explicitly codified as a stand your ground law, generally allow individuals to use force, including deadly force, to defend themselves without a duty to retreat if they are not the initial aggressor and believe they are in imminent danger. This principle is rooted in common law and judicial decisions. Um, key
Yeah,
point.
you see, this stand your ground stuff is a recent addition. Damn near every state in the union had a stand your ground provision. It was common law. So we didn't have stand your ground until very recently in Tennessee as a codified thing, but in the instructions to the jury, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, when the defendant claims self defense, he has no duty to retreat. He may stand his ground, and he is charged with
He probably
assessing the
thought he was being
circumstances.
he
See
probably
that?
thought he was being burglarized.
Yeah, I got you. So the bottom line is, and then when you see the castle doctrine comes in on the burglary, it used to be the common law principle was tumultuous entry. If somebody looks or appears to be effectuating a tumultuous entry, in other words, a sudden entrance through a door, window, or chimney, or something like that, all bets are off. The homeowner or the person impacted or acting on behalf of the neighbor. Remember, we used to have neighborliness and all of that other stuff. You know, your neighbor may be off
Right,
and
right, because it says here that the Castle Doctrine, Virginia has a version of the Castle Doctrine which provides additional protection for individuals in their homes, vehicles, or other places where they have reasonable belief of safety, according to concealed carry education. Now, why was he charged? Was that
yeah,
him?
politics. We had one down here where in a place right across the street from the Presley mansion, a guy was pumping gas. Two more people were pumping gas, and some thugs showed up to rob the place. Well, they decided to rob the people pumping gas too. So they fired some shots at the people pumping gas. One of the people pumping gas had a handgun carry permit. He shot back. An innocent bystander was killed. That should have been the felony murder rule. They went through a big rigmarole showpiece trial of putting this man on trial. He got convicted, and the state Supreme Court sent it, and it was a unanimous 9-zip ruling. Said this is absolutely ridiculous. There's no reason this man should have been charged. The perpetrators of the robbery should have been charged under the felony murder rule. So, I mean, they went and did this because it was being politically correct. That is one of the corruptions that we face of our law, where somebody's trying to mollify certain individuals who he does not want, or groups he does not want, or she does not want, accusing them of bias, will charge somebody when there is no reason the person should have been charged.
And
Kind
that's
of
what I'm
what
saying.
Letitia
So,
James was doing with Trump.
right. So, okay, but so that's the problem that I'm having. So now what? Now he has to hire a lawyer and go through the.
Yeah,
So what's the use of these self-defense laws? What? So
that's the
because
point. See, this is a
this is what I'm
cycle.
saying. This is what I'm saying. He didn't know that these kids were playing doing a
Pranking.
prank. He didn't know that they were even kids. He thought that he was in danger of someone burglarizing him. But because these kids said, "Well, we was just playing a game," they put all these charges on this man.
They
But
shouldn't have. That's a manifest injustice. It's hideous.
right, and
Well, they were just children, yeah.
and
Well,
one of them
guess
died.
what, people? I represented the youngest person in the whole world on the planet Earth on death row at one time. He was accused of killing 3 people when he was in the 7th grade, and when they were going to execute him, he was 15 years, 2 weeks old on the day. And I got a stay of execution 23 minutes before his death was to be effectuated. In the Arkansas Supreme Court, all white, they acquitted him. And he was supposed to have killed 3 white people, and he was black. So I guess, and since that was 40 years ago, I guess all of that stuff about you can't get any justice if you're black, maybe just what happens is maybe you just didn't have a good attorney. And then look at Johnny Cochran. What happened? He got OJ off. But Johnny Cochran, whom I met in 1966, a fellow UCLA alumni, he'd been getting black folk off for the longest time. See,
Right.
so that hype about you can't get justice if you're black, yeah, there are instances, but so happens with somebody white too, depending upon what's happening and who's trying the case and what your jury is fashioned like.